gnawing at me for a little bit. It happened on another channel. I'm not going to say the channel because it's really not about the channel. It's more of just the response I got. It's like the video in question I was responding to was basically a history of the original series Constitution class. It's kind of from an in-universe point of view. And I kind of took exception at there was a reference to the Battle of the Binary Stars as part of the history of the lineage of the thing. And it's like, I came to think, it's like, my response to that, I could have done without the reference to the Battle of the Binary Stars. That sorry, no amount of happy talk from the Kurtzman is going to convince anyone that Discovery is part of the same universe as TOS. And I kind of got roundly rebuked for that one because the channel owner is part that they say it's part of the prime universe. It's part of the prime universe, and we kind of got to realize that not everyone follows this stuff as closely as we do. Okay, not everyone gets into the behind the scenes machinations and interprets the thing as like that. The happy talk is not what they see in it. The renewals don't mean what a renewal used to be when it was on TV. If because streaming wars has changed a lot along the landscape, and because it's not very convincing. As a matter of fact, we as fans don't own Trek and have no say where any of this takes place. So regardless of how we personally feel, so they've stated it's prime universe, and so it is. That's just the facts. Well, yeah. And let's see. He said also the majority of fans simply accept this fact. So I'm not sure where you get the idea that anyone except for a minority feel differently. I have over 6 million views and I'm a part of a lot of Trek communities, and it really is only a minority that actually has the problem you described. That's why Discovery's been so successful and revitalized the franchise. This is evidenced by the numerous season renewals and commissioned shows. Okay, I think you've got people inside and don't believe the YouTubers who create clickbait videos in an effort to gain revenue. They are simply lying. Okay, since I'm part of that community, I do take a little bit of offense at that one. Yeah. Okay, so you're more than welcome to dislike Discovery for your own personal reasons, but please do not speak for anyone else on the channel. Thank you. So, yeah. And well, yeah, it's not about him and the channel. I still like his stuff. He does very good work. But like I said, I think a lot of we got one of the issues I think we got in trying to get these things right is the fact we're dealing with an audience, and I don't know if how much of a majority or whatever, but we're dealing with at least a large chunk of the audience that is buying this stuff, that is sucking in the excuses they give out, and the fact that's renewed, it must be doing successful, and again they're not following it closely, and they're not digging into the behind the scenes details. And frankly, I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with these guys when, like I said, new sheriff in town by the name of Sherry Redstone, who again is apparently not happy with what's going on. And of course, this is someone in a position to know what's really going on, what the actual viewing numbers are, what the wholesale damage to the company is. And again, they've got market research people. They listen to our posts. They listen to the videos, and so I don't know if they go down as far as watching my videos, but I know they watch Midnight's Edge and Doomcock and a few others, and Gary's over at Neurotic. I'd like to think I'd be scooped into that fishnet, but I'm a pretty small fish in this particular pond right now, but they're looking at it, and so they know there is a great deal of discontent out here, and it has fractured the fan base. The percentage is irrelevant. In fact, it's because it's not a big enough fan base to stand a lot of fracturing at this point. But I think that's probably one of the bigger obstacles to convince, really, because the producers know they're screwing things up, but they don't care. The upper, like then Sherry Redstone on up, I can only hope they're waiting for an excuse to pull the plug on it and put people in and know what they're doing. And the fact of, the numbers aren't there, or they would be broadcasting them from the high heavens just to rub it in the noses of everyone else. So the fact that they have not produced any numbers just shows how many people are actually watching. Saying a record does not mean anything if we don't know what the baseline for that record was in the first place. And there's been little snippets here and there where they've almost admitted it's not the same universe. Mainly from kind of down the road, production people who weren't necessarily, all that up on, the double speak you got to be when you're up on the producer level, talking to the public, and you have to keep things shrouded in mystery. And that's where you got situations like John Eves, letting slip the 25% difference thing, or the 20, and some of the other, the designers and stuff, letting slip that our universe is not the same as the original universe. And, oh, is it really? And again, there's a certain, and just in the it doesn't pass a giggle test. You take this thing, well, they say it's your prime universe, what's the prime universe? No, it doesn't work that way. Not when you're coming in after the fact, and what you're putting out there clearly does not match. When you're going that blatantly against, I'm sorry, you have broken canon at that point. And nothing in Discovery, it's from the first frame just about. It's like, huh? So no, just because they say it's the same universe, you can that bends suspension of disbelief beyond the breaking point at that point. All right. So if the majority of Star Trek fans are really that gullible, then we are in bigger trouble than we thought. Okay, if they're actually sucking that in, well, yeah, because they say it is. No. Again, and it kind of goes back to Doomcock's Rules of Canon and my own little versions of that too, where it's like, if the series creator can tweak things as he went along, Roddenberry could tweak things, and we might not like it, but it's allowed. George Lucas, when he did the prequels, something looks weird here. I don't know. It looks like I'm missing part of my eyebrow. I don't know. Look at me punched in the face. I think it's just the lighting. But George Lucas you do the prequels, and yeah, it changed a lot, but it's his baby. That's why I never had a problem with the prequels, because it's not my story. It's George Lucas' story. So, whatever. Where the problem comes in is, like, say, with the sequel movies, with the sequel trilogy. They're not in a position to do that kind of thing legally. Yes, I think it's a way. What's happened to Star Wars is kind of a on steroids version of what's been happening with Star Trek. People in some cases, in the case of JJ, it's the same people. They come in after the fact, upend the apple cart, and say, accept it. This is the way it is. You like it or lump it. And are rather shocked when some of us say, no, not buying. So, yeah. Again, if we, again, I don't reject the fact we may be a minority because not that many people have the time and energy to really dig into this kind of crap and get into the under the hood of this thing and see what's going on. To find out, no, there's no V8 engine. It's 5 hamsters, and and the feeder's starting to run a little low. They just take the it's been renewed for 3 seasons. It must be doing good. No, it's because the corporate heads have more money than sense, and they can't afford to lose face because that will affect the entire company. And it's cheaper to lose money on the one show and still make it elsewhere. That's probably the reasoning going on, because if they pull the plug on this thing after being so damn hyped, then they would look like idiots, and that would affect the stock market value and everything else. So that's one of the reasons why you keep seeing stuff like this being pushed out. I bet you that's also a big reason why the Star Wars thing kept being driven on, because it's like if they had done the sensible thing and pulled the plug on something, then it would reflect badly on Disney as a whole. But I think what they're not counting on is the fact that the franchise was probably bigger than Disney, and the fact that they screwed up Star Wars, that's done worse damage than anything they could have done just by like slamming the brakes on Rian Johnson there. And a slight tangent on that, how to do a trilogy. It's like they're talking about the original thing where he had different directors come in to do Empire and then Jedi, but George Lucas was always there on set usually, and sometimes even George would step in and direct some of the second unit stuff. So it's like I think it was actually Gary or somebody pointed out that the Marvel franchise is taking the approach where it's very producer driven. Directors are not given complete total free reign to do what the hell they want. The producer is riding over this thing and maintaining the narrative and keeping make sure everything fits. George Lucas was doing that with Star Wars. You bring in different directors, but it's like you toe the George Lucas line or you're out. Kathleen Kennedy did not get that memo, and so she brought in, she let JJ go nuts, which seems safe enough because he's a Star Wars fanboy. He's a little misguided, but he's a Star Wars fanboy, and so he wouldn't go too far off the reservation necessarily. Rian Johnson, on the other hand, they let him loose, and he damn near brought down the entire works in the second movie. And because he's the whole thing about subverting, it's like, Ryan, we have a third movie coming after this. You need to leave something standing. And he didn't bother. No, I'm going to pull everything out because it's my movie. But back to Star Trek. And again, there's going to be people saying Star Wars. Well, it made $1 billion after how many weeks? It's the slowest one to hit $1 billion, in the whole damn franchise. And I think, in the eyes of the Hollywood, it's like that's not a good thing. If they were selling tickets at Avengers Endgame level, why didn't it do Avengers Endgame money? Avengers Endgame opened at $1 billion. Okay, and this thing, it's taken a month to drag its fat ass across the line to $1 billion, and most of that coming from overseas. And that may not seem to be a big deal, but the thing is, overseas money, the studio doesn't get as big a share of that as they do the domestic take. That's why you still got a very heavy emphasis on the domestic box office, because they get half of that. The other half goes to the theaters. But foreign, like China, the studio gets maybe 10%. And other countries is a different thing, because they don't get the same percentage. But people, a lot of people just see the surface numbers, and the thing, it's renewed. It's another season. It must be doing good, and that's as far as they go. So it's kind of trying to free slaves that don't realize they're slaves. That's a tough one to do, because it's like you can't really once it's someone who's been fooled, they don't want to admit they've been fooled, so they'll cling to that whole thing. No, it must be through And sorry, the Emperor is bloody Starkers. Okay, it's not doing the good numbers. It's being renewed despite that, and despite the enormous cost that is it's bleeding the company dry. It's kind of, I think the fiasco of Discovery is part of what led to the remerger in the first place, because it wasn't in a position to hold them off any longer. And again, Sherry Redstone does not like what they've taken with Star Trek. She views Star Trek as a family heirloom that they have badly mismanaged. So I guarantee you, they're looking for an excuse to just yank the rug out from Kurtzman and send them all packing and get the ship righted. And I'm not so sure they'll be all that shy about declaring, cause we've already got the precedent set with JJ Trek. It would be an alternate universe. So I don't think there would be any hesitation with a new crew coming and saying, no, Discovery's the only thing. It's a different universe. I mean, look at it. The ships don't match. The tech doesn't work. Tech doesn't match up at all. Of course, it's another universe. How would you think it's a same universe? Good grief! Don't you trust your own eyes? But that's the biggest fight I think we're going to have, really, over the coming however many months, years, or to getting this thing back on its track, is dealing with the people who are still buying the thing that, of course it's Prime. They said it's Prime. I think that's why I kind of helped them with the thing of, okay, yeah, it's Prime. Prime doesn't equal canon. And in fact, the first time we ever heard Prime really was coming out of JJ and his happy little bunch of morons saying, oh, it's the Prime universe, but until this happens. Yeah, okay. It was never referred to as anything but just the universe. And while I'm at it, the Variety article with Stewart and mentioning that they wanted to turn Star Trek into a big sprawling multi thing, like the Marvel universe. It already was. What the hell do you think, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, what do you think that encompassed there? There's your multi-universe right there, big spanning, cinematic universe right there. Not everything was on the Enterprise. So somebody needs to slap that, the writer for Variety upside the head. Preferably with a couple of one of those big 90-pound encyclopedias they put out. That's the other thing I'm irritated about. It's like, because we got the JJ contamination in the encyclopedias. So I'm gonna have to one of these days go through there with a red pen and start striking stuff out. But anyway, I just had to get that out because again, and the thing is, that little slapback is maybe a little reluctant to even go back and watch other videos on the channel. Because I'll get to it eventually because I'll get over it. But because otherwise, this guy does good stuff. But I don't want to mention the channel because I don't want to draw him into this thing because it's not really about him. It's not him. He has the right to his own thing. And again, the videos where they have very little to do with this issue, he does a little, kind of like Trek Yards, but a little bit of a more flashy presentation. But kind of a history of this ship class or that ship class, whatever. And I could have called him and really? Then why do you have separate videos for the Disco Prize and the JJ Prize if it's all the same happy universe? But I haven't said anything. I decided not to be snarky about it because he's been a nice guy otherwise. But okay, that I think will do it for this little tirade here. PayPal, Patreon down below. The mailbox for now is still Captain Robert April, 4046 North Goldenrod Road, number 115, Winter Park, Florida, 32792. I gotta go down there tomorrow, get a mail, because I got a lightsaber for cheap. So I gotta go pick that up. And I think that'll do it. So catch you later.